Test check. Test check one. Test check two. Welcome to another episode of Big Daddy's Den. And remember, no matter where I stay nor go, you the people will remain the stars of this show. Yeah. Let's jump right into it. Been a little while since we've been on here. A lot of stuff been going on. This coronavirus is in worse shape than when we first started back in March with this show. This show supposed to be about recovery from addiction and all different types of addiction. I think that I've earned the right to have this show to share my experience, strength and hope for those who fight an addiction. But with this coronavirus been going around, I found it in my heart sometimes to share some knowledge. Even though we know addiction kills, but so does coronavirus. So I found it in my heart to share some knowledge out here with some of you all about wearing the mask, because it seemed like, it's killing more black and brown people. And I'm not impressed with what I see. When I go to the car service station to fill up the car. I used to be one that not fill up one because I figure that's extra weight you got to carry around, and actually that makes you probably get less gas mileage. And I don't think a full tank is good for your fuel pump. Of course, an empty tank ain't neither. Running them too low now. I used to try to keep mine around half. But with that being said, I've been filling it up to save those extra trips because of this virus. So we've been trying to do the fill up thing, and probably going to do that now after the virus was over. Because sometimes you learn a lot of stuff when you put in predicament situations. But with that being said, I'm just saying little things. I'm not impressed with the amount of our people that I see not wearing a mask. And I don't say that in a prejudice point. I say that because, like I told you from the beginning of the show, it's killing 90% of black and brown people. So that's what I mean when I say that I'm not impressed with the amount of people I see, even after the law been passed, not wearing a mask. A lot of y'all don't realize, man, with this economy, when it shut down, a lot of y'all just thinking about the individuals who's laid off or whose hours getting cut. You don't understand, when you ain't paying taxes, the state, the government, the city, everybody, money's getting short. And I say that because why you don't want to wear a mask and get fined, they need the money. So they probably going to start enforcing it. They said after about 72 hours they're going to do it anyway, but I'm saying they need the money. But what I don't understand is why would you rather pay that fine when that money you probably need yourself, is all I'm saying. Because people, that's the only way really, man, to fight this thing until we get a vaccine, because social distancing and mask wearing, that's just something that the Chinaman's been doing since the beginning of time, and that's why they now over there all back to work and everything. They still wearing masks, but I'm just saying, we should have been doing it from the beginning. And just like I was telling some of you all about when I go visit any of my loved ones, or, the ones that I know got underlying conditions, or, the age factor, maybe 65 and over or whatever. I got a N95 mask, and no, I didn't take it from the healthcare workers because, like I say, I got it from China. They ain't got no shortage. Or we had a shortage because of who we got running, the president. That's right, I said it. China ain't got no shortage. I ordered mine from China. Had to wait about 5 weeks on it. But that way I know I don't do a lot of visiting, but if I go, out of respect, I am gonna make sure that ain't nobody gonna get contagious from nothing coming out my mouth when I go visit people, like I say, when I know there's got underlying conditions or fall in that category of high risk. You know, I apologize for not getting back to the recovery. But like I say, I just hope that I can help this one person that wasn't wearing a mask, maybe can go out tomorrow and put one on their face. Maybe because they didn't realize how dumb it is. I'm not calling nobody dumb. It's like I told you, I always say on the Big Daddy Den show, an enemy can't do nothing for you. So I'm not trying to make no end, I'm just trying to tell you like it is. You know, it's dumb, you know, to not wear one and also break the law at the same time. It's like a combination. You know, Ali knocked a lot of them out with a combination. So that's a combination I wouldn't be wanting to look to throw if I was you. So I'm hoping that by, you know, somebody tuning in, YouTube, Facebook, even running on Twitter now, I'm hoping that somebody that wasn't wearing their mask today could say, hey, man, I tuned into the Big Daddy Den. He was talking about it's kind of stupid, man, to pay that fine and also to be going over my mama house, cousin house, uncle house, and not knowing if I'm infected. And they might can't fight it. I ain't number 19 years old, but they might. I'm going to go and put mine on just out of respect like Big Daddy said. That's what I'm hoping. So that's why we kind of got away from the recovery. I'm going to try to talk a little bit about those next steps. But I wanted to put that out there because I wasn't impressed after the first couple of shows about the amount of us that still wasn't wearing a mask. And I hope with the law changing, I hope, I hope you don't be one of them that's got to pay about $500 first, because really once they pass that law, the way they look at it is, it's something very serious, because by you not doing it, you could take somebody away from this earth. Maybe quicker than if you even had a gun in your pocket. Because the coronavirus ain't no joke. You know, and I quote unquote kind of wish some of my people quit. You know, you hear some of the dumbest things. And I just say, man, you know, I can't name all the stuff. Y'all done heard some of what they say about it. To me, all that don't matter. This is what matters. It's killing 90% of the black and brown population. So what you say, how is that going to help? So don't come telling me about what you think it might be and it ain't nothing, or it's a hoax or whatever. Whatever, you keep that to yourself. Because we know it's deadly. 100,000 plus. So really, y'all hard to put the mask on your face and maybe you won't talk as much. Because you're talking nonsense. You know, you're not fact checking nothing. Big Daddy fact check everything before I bring it to this show. That's why I say it get risky business at times. But start fact checking yourself before you go around saying all, to me, some of that crazy stuff. I ain't even gonna repeat none of that talk, because I don't want to give that talk no energy. I don't want to give that talk no advertisement time. But look at the bottom line. The bottom line is it's killing. So protect yourself. Soldiers wear steel hammers to protect their head from bullets. We're wearing masks to protect us from the coronavirus, from spreading the virus, catching the virus. That's what we're wearing it for. Policemen, they wear them bulletproof vests to catch bullets, to protect themselves. We're wearing masks. Let me say it again. That's right, I said it again. We're wearing masks to protect ourselves from the coronavirus. So put your mask on, people. If you got money you want to give away like that, there's a lot of people out of work right now. There's a lot of people you can help with that money. Don't give it to the state and the city over something like that, because when it's all said and done, what you're going to do, you'll just keep going out getting tickets, because when you do it, it's still going to be the law. It's probably going to be the law till a vaccine come out, because I'm telling you, that's the way we can fight it at a cheap rate, at a non-expensive way. That's how we can fight it. That doesn't cost us a lot. The president act like it's costing him his pride. So like me, a lot of other stuff he done should have cost him his pride if that was the case. He was going around with them women while he was married. You're telling me wearing a mask is worse than that? Risky business. Y'all feel me? I'm not buying that. But what I'm trying to say is, he ain't black, he ain't brown, and I'm not going to call him yellow, because I ain't trying to do all that, because LOL, y'all know the deal. But I know he ain't black and I know he ain't brown. So wear your mask, man. Man. Wear your mask. Big Daddy said put your mask on. Especially when you come here. No, I ain't saying my address over there. I ain't saying my address over the air like that. Y'all know I'm not going to do that. But if you come here, put your mask on. Out of respect. So many of y'all hard-headed, I had to get an N95 mask, because, you know, some of y'all just ain't doing what you're supposed to do. That's why I got to wear an N95 mask. If all y'all put your mask on, I might go down to a regular mask. Risky business. Y'all feel me? And please, if you don't want to keep wearing these masks, vote. But we can fight this thing from a national level. Think about it. We got a pandemic that's attacking us nationally. Quote unquote, we know for it to be named pandemic, it has to be worldwide. Risky business, we know that. But just listen to me for a minute. Add up this arithmetic. We got a pandemic that attacking us nationally. But we fighting it state by state. So we fighting it in New York. We fighting it in California. We fighting it in North Carolina. So do the arithmetic. We fighting it in, let's just throw some numbers out there. We fighting it in 20 states. And getting our butt whooped in the other 30. So we ain't gonna win the battle like that. National problem, you fight it nationally. You don't got to be educated to know that. You just might not need to be a Republican to know that. That's right, I said it, because it's getting serious. A national problem, you fight it nationally. And because we didn't do that, now the people who didn't want to fight it the right way, now their numbers going up so high, it's going to ease on back over to the ones that did all they could do to get rid of it. But you can't get rid of it state by state. It's got to be done nationally all at the same time. And people can talk about the cost, economy, this and that. It's going to cost more having to wait the second or third time to do it right. I don't think we're going to get it right the second time. Be honest with you, D.C. got to change for us to get it right. Starting at the White House. And just like we going to war, but we're going to leave half our troops home. We ain't going to fight. We're just going to fight with the Army. We ain't going to use the Air Force. No, you use everything when you go to war. And I'm telling you, people, we're at war with this coronavirus. But we're not using everything that's at our disposal. Risky business. We're not using everything that's at our disposal. That's right, I said it. We're one of the strongest and smartest countries in the world. But we're fighting this coronavirus like we're the dumbest ever in the history of land. Risky business. Y'all hear what I said? I said we fighting this coronavirus like the dumbest ever in the history of land. And water. And Big Daddy sometimes get ticked off at it because I know we can do better. I know we better than this. That's why I always say, thank God for the governors. And I don't know what happened to the Republicans. I don't know what happened to them because we always have came together during a national crisis. We always have. During the Bush administration, during the Reagan administration, we've always came together during a crisis. It ain't about politics when you got hundreds of thousands of America dying. We'll worry about politics later. We've always became united during a crisis. Look at Katrina. Look at 9/11. World War I, World War II. We've always came together. Y'all know that. We're in uncharted territory right now. How are we gonna let little Taiwan or Italy? How are we gonna let either of them fight a battle better than we fight? And we supposed to be the smartest and the strongest in the world. You know it don't make sense. Risky business. That's what it is. Risky business. Now, with that being said, like I said, go out tomorrow. And I know I didn't say it a lot, but some of y'all hard-headed, and sometimes you have to say stuff to you more than one time for it to sink in. I was like that. Thank God it's been about 35, 40 years ago. You know, a couple people tell me something now, something follow behind me, I'm gonna turn around. I'm not going to wait till something hit me. I'm going to take off running. I'll find out what it was later. I ain't got to sit there and get hit upside the head. You feel me? So take care of yourself. And like I say, out of respect of others, put the mask over your face. If not, don't go around then. You know, if you don't want to put your mask on your face, just stay away from people. That's all I'm saying. Don't go around nobody. You carrying something that you don't know you got and to take about 13, 14 days before you start dropping down to your knees. How many people you infected between them 13 days? That's why you need to put the mask on. This is a funny virus. This is a funny virus, and what I mean by that is it strikes in too many different ways. That's why I say it's risky business. They get some people the sniffles, and then other people on the ventilator. Then some people, they got it and they well, and then next thing you know, they in intensive care with kidney failure, anything. It's a funny virus, and what I mean by that is it's coming at us too many different ways. It ain't one of them things you can sneeze and say, oh yeah, I got it. No, this is something you can carry for 13 days before you even know you got it, and you done infect everybody that you done coughed on without your mask on. But like I say, if you ain't gonna wear no mask, I mean, like I said, just don't come here. Don't come here if you ain't got a mask. I mean, it's the law now anyway. Should have been wearing it before then. But I feel because everybody don't have respect. You got to know You're bumping in the news. It should pop up on your phone. Some kind of way you got to know it's killing people. So to me, it's doggone right disrespectful for you not to wear a mask. You got to know that it's killing people. Either that or you so something that you don't believe the arithmetic. You don't believe that you can carry it for 10 days or more and not know you got it. Then you need to watch some more news. That's where the problem comes in. That's why people don't want you coming up on it with no mask on. Yeah, you feel fine. But that's why it's killing so many people. It's a silent, invisible virus. You don't know you're carrying it. It ain't heavy. It ain't got no smell. And you can't see it. So you don't even know you're carrying it. Ain't got no weight. Ain't got no smell. And you can't see it. So why would you want to go around somebody without something covered over your face? All right, with that being said, I'm going to recap that recovery show about addiction. We went over the first 3 steps. I don't normally have to have this literature and stuff wrote down or this and that, but when we're bouncing around with all this stuff going on, Big Daddy said he better go ahead on and take some notes and stuff because I ain't got that keen memory that I used to have, LOL. But those first 3 steps we was talking about that we went over the last time was step 1, we admitted we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. And step 2, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves that can restore us to sanity. In step 3, we made a decision to turn our will and our life over to care of God as we understood Him. Y'all feel me? Let me read that one more time so you can recap it. If you practice that and did what I was telling you to do, then you should be living that by now. We admitted we were powerless over our addiction and that our lives had become unmanageable. We came to believe in a power greater than ourselves that can restore us back to sanity. We made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Y'all feel me? That's what we went over on the earlier shows. So I'm supposed to be telling you a little bit about the next 3 steps. I'm finding it in my heart to come back at you a little more regular than normal because of this coronavirus. I haven't been able to concentrate on really what the show supposed to be 100% about fighting addiction in America. Because that's something I really got experience with. I don't have no experience with that coronavirus, but I did do a lot of fact checking and said, well, you know what, I'll bring you some information, but I'm definitely sure enough bringing you information on that I got from somewhere else. With this addiction, I'm bringing you most of the information that I've already experienced for myself. Risky business, y'all feel me? So let's get into it with this 4th step. We made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Y'all don't hear me? If you done did them first 3 steps, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. So you can put that on paper. And because you need to check yourself out. If you done put your addiction down and you done did them first 3 steps, you got a lot of stuff going through you right now. A lot of feelings you ain't had in a long time. So put that on paper. Don't panic when you start seeing it on paper because there's something about when you write that stuff and you see it on paper because it's 2 things happening. For some reason, when you write it, it's coming out of you. And when you put it on that paper, you're going to see it more bigger and brighter. Y'all feel me? I know that from experience. So, step 4, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. can't sit like I used to. I had to move got a special pillow I have to sit on. Sitting is not my friend, but I said, if I can help somebody stay clean and help somebody, I say recovery, man, because whether if it's cigarettes, gambling addiction, drinking, cocaine, weed, it just can go on and on. These steps are working on any of those addictions if you work them. And I'll share something else with you. One of the saddest things that I found out in my 35-year recovery is that addiction is so powerful because you really, really don't even see it until you get clean, how bad you was. That's why it's hard for somebody to even get help, because if they're not reaching out for help, you can't pull them in. You can't take them off after drugs and pull them in like that. It's got to be done step by step because they're not even going to really realize how bad they was until they start living the good old life again without those addictions. Because if it's addiction, it's robbing you of your sanity. If it's addiction, it's causing trouble in your marriage. If it's addiction, it's causing trouble on your job. If it's addiction, it's causing trouble with your health. We're talking about addiction. We're not saying stop doing everything you're doing. We're talking about stuff that's making your life become unmanageable. That's what we're talking about. But I just had to say because I know when I was going through it, I just know that I wish I could have seen some of the things I seen after I got clean, but that's what makes addiction so hard. That's why I want to bring this show, because some people have to be told something. And this is the way I can reach people, because if you cut this on, then you taking the first step, or if you continue to watch it, you must have a desire. And that's what you got to have, a desire before we can do anything. So that's why I say I put it on the video, because at least if you're watching the video, you got a desire to do something. And that's all it takes to get started. So we made a Searching and Fearless More inventory of ourselves, step 4. That means put it on paper. Everything you could think of about yourself, put it on paper. You're going to have some feelings running to you if you don't work them 3 steps. And after you do that, you're going to be ready for step 5. We admit it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our own. That's when you really start cleansing your inside. When you're telling God and yourself and somebody else, that's right, another human being on this earth, about your wrongs. If you ain't work step 1, 2, 3, 4, and stuff like that, don't even worry about 5 yet. It'll be too much for you. If you done did all the first 4 steps, it's time to go ahead on and admit that to God, yourself, and somebody else. The exact natures of your wrong. Risky business. We cleansing the inside. See, we working the inside. When you get that inside clean, oh God, it's ready for some more positive stuff to come in. There ain't nothing wrong with having a habit. What we got to do is we got to make sure we get good habits. We try to get rid of some of these bad habits. We creatures of habit. We just got to make sure we get good habits. Y'all feel me? And step 6, feed them to you 3 at a time. We were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Y'all hear me? Let me say that one more time. Y'all didn't hear me. We were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. You done put that on paper now. You done put the addiction down, whether it's drugs or cigarettes or alcohol. or they're going to the casino every other night, you don't put that down there. You're ready to have God to remove those character defects. Because they got to be removed for you to go on to that next step. So as you work these steps, you're going to see that one step helps the other step. So just remember that step 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these character defects. And we'll be getting back to that because I want y'all to concentrate on working on that to another episode of Big Daddy's Den. And hopefully pretty soon with this coronavirus, you know, it's probably going to be something next time I'm about to share something else on the next show with you about it. But hopefully, if it's God's will, we'll be where one day we just talking about this recovery thing, because one day y'all gonna have questions about this, and I may do a live show once I know I done work these 12 steps with you. That way, when it'd be like having a live sponsor there where you could tell me where you at, and I might could tell you if you need to take that next left down there on Elm Street, or do you need to go on down to the next and hit Bimbo, if y'all feel what I'm saying. Or if you just need to stay on the road that you on. You may not need to make no turn right then, if y'all feel me. You may not be ready for no turns. So I'm probably, after I get to the 12th step and go through that, I may come with a few episodes of Big Daddy's Den live for recovery. I ain't gonna do it live on the coronavirus, but I may come at you live so you can ask some questions. Let me know where you at with your recovery on your addiction. Because like I say, I found it in my heart to bring this show because we don't have enough halfway houses. We don't have enough recovery houses like we did back in the 80s and 90s when I was reaching out for help. I was hoping that by now we would have had 100 times that amount. I didn't think that we was going to be almost out of them. I mean, I just don't understand that. But that's okay with social media. I got a way. We're going to bring it to you. And you're going to get some of the same stuff that I got to change my life. So work on that. Step 4, we made a certain and fearless more inventory ourselves. Step 5, we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrong. Step 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove all of these character defects. And like I say, so you're entirely ready. So what we'll do, I'll bring you that step 7, 8, and 9, and I can give you a little recap on that just to open your mind up a little bit. Maybe, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. That's what we trying to do. Keep hope alive. Step 7, we humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. Step 7, we humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. Y'all hear me? Think about that for a minute. Step 8, we made a list of all people we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. I'm going to read them twice. I'm going to read it twice. We made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. That don't mean go jump in your car right now and start riding over everybody's house that you, I ain't going to say that word, but Don't go doing it, nothing, You just making a list. We made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Because once you make that list, you're going to need somebody like me or somebody who done been through it to show you how to do that. We got to do it to where just like when you come down here to step 9, we made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so will injure them or others. You understand that? We made direct amends to such people wherever was possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. So we're going to be going over 7, 8, and 9 when we come back. But just remember that by the end, you should be entirely ready to have God remove all your character defects. Because he's the only one that can do that. I'm just going to bottom line tell you that if you done did them other steps, then you should know by now that your higher power and who your higher power going to be. But that's who the one is going to be able to remove your shortcomings, your character defects. It's God. And like I say, that's enough. I don't want to bombard you too much, but like I say, no matter what you're recovering from, you work those steps right there, and I guarantee you, we can get you back to where you don't have that stopping you from living and enjoying life like you should be. But I wanted to talk a little bit to you about cigarettes because I just happen to just hear sometimes things like, you hear other people talking sometimes, you don't jump in their business and all that stuff, but you done had some experience there and you be like, wow, that ain't so. Wow. So I feel it in my heart to say something about cigarettes because I lost my father to emphysema. And I can tell you, he never heard nothing about Nicorette or nothing, or any of the stuff they got out there, the patches, Nicoderm, or whatever, but thank God I have. And I heard somebody in the studio talking about, well, it didn't work for me. I had that Nicorette. It didn't work for me, and I had the patch, and it didn't work for me. And I remember in the past, I've conversated with people before, and because I use Nicorette. I know it worked. After I did it, I showed my wife how to do it. She did the exact same thing. I told her, I don't want them to believe that if you do the exact same thing, you're going to get the same results. That's one thing about Big Daddy did it. I wanted to believe if you do the same thing, you're going to get the same results. Matter of fact, I don't never do the same thing unless I like the way it went. What I'm going to do it for if I ain't like the way it went? But I asked a couple people in the past that was saying the Nicorette didn't work for them and all that. And I said, oh, okay, well, how'd you like the program? They ain't know what I was talking about. Some of them didn't even know a little bitty book about this big, maybe smaller than an inch, that come in the box to tell you how to wean yourself off the cigarettes and how to use the gum, how much you supposed to chew that first hour, how much you supposed to chew the second 2 hours, and how you supposed to break it down each day. I've yet to find somebody who could tell me the whole steps, and they kept smoking. So before you say that the Nicorette don't work for you, just do me 2 small favors. Make sure you got a desire to quit. And open that little book that come in the box and read it. If you can do those two things and keep smoking, then call Big Daddy. And we'll find out what your problem is. If you do that, you do got a problem. You got another problem that I'm going to need some experience to strip on. Because I got said, if you got that desire, you open that little book up, you probably ain't going to have no more cigarettes in your life. Ask my wife. She got 20 something years off of it now. We both thought that there was no life, such life without cigarettes. But I was kind of flabbergasted over how many people did not even work the program and didn't even know what I was talking about when I said program. You don't just pop it over and start chewing. Yeah, well, that's not how you do it. It's a program, just like a program I'm telling you about now, about taking these steps. It's steps you take when you're doing that Nicorette. But if you don't have no desire for any of this addiction, you might well take all your energy and try to work on some kind of way getting a desire. Because without a desire, nothing works. That's the first step to almost anything, having a desire. Some of you got desires and don't even know it. I could tell you share some of my desires through some of my addiction. I remember one when I was smoking at the end, I got to where, quote unquote, I never smoked in front of my parents anyway. Because my daddy, when he died, first thing he told me, don't never smoke. He didn't know he was too late in telling me that. But I could tell by the way he told me that I needed to give him up. Because I could see it in his eyes. But I could tell you some of the desires that you might, your body sometimes start having desires before you mentally. Where you don't want to smoke around people that you used to smoke around. Where you keep saying you're going to quit. You saying it now. You saying it now every other week, where you used to didn't never say it, even though you ain't quit, but you're saying it a lot. After I do finish this pack, I ain't buying no more. I'm quitting. Start setting it on the timer how you gonna smoke. That's a sign of a desire. I'm gonna smoke one there, I ain't gonna smoke no another one until I'm going to smoke 3 today. I'm going to spread it out. So it's ways you can tell that that you having a desire building up inside of you to get that stuff up because you're not comfortable doing it around people that you used to do it around. But like I say, don't knock my Nicorette unless you work the program. I go to bat for Nicorette because, like I say, I've yet to see someone who worked the program that didn't quit. Now anybody can relapse, but that's another thing. I'm saying I never seen nobody work the program of Nicorette and didn't quit smoking because there's certain things you have to do. Keeping yourself busy and stuff for you to have long-term success. And after a while, then you don't have to do some of those things. I can remember one by I had a number 2 pencil that I used to play with. Because first I was starting to do a straw, and I was starting to bite the straw too much in my mouth. So what I started doing was I did the pencil because I wasn't putting that number 2 pencil in my mouth because I figured that the lid is poison. So I would have the number 2 pencil to play with, and lollipops became one of my favorite things because remember we so used to putting something in our mouth. So after all that, I had to get off the candy, but that's okay. The candy wasn't doing me wasn't doing me like the cigarettes doing, wasn't making me tired and not doing the things I used to do, and found myself being sleepy a lot. Just couldn't never get enough sleep when I was smoking. Um, Found myself sometimes lighting one where I still had one laying there in the ashtray and didn't even realize it. I think at the end, want to say I lit one off in one. LOL. At the end, I believe that's what happened. I think I made a mistake and lit one off one. I was the only one in the room. Risky business. But just telling you some stories that maybe you can see, because addiction treat a lot of us the same way. So sometimes when you hear people share your story that you ain't told them, sometimes when you realize it's addiction, that's when it give you hope that you want to go ahead and fight it. Some of you don't believe it's it's addiction. Some of you don't believe it's a disease, of addiction. But if I could tell your story and you ain't told me, then you know it's doing us all the same way. And that's what a disease do. It do everybody the same way. Most people, when they get lung cancer, it do you all the same way. That's the same way it is with addiction, a disease of addiction. That's how I'm able to tell your story, and you ain't told me your story. If I break down one day on here and share to you how I got started and what it was like and what it's like today, then you'll have more understanding of what I say. It does a lot of us the same way. That's something else that may come down the line on Big Daddy's Den when I share to you about addiction, how I got started. I may do alcohol and drugs. That way you could be more familiar with it, of how I got started, what it was like, and risky business, what it's like today. And reason why some of us that recovery, reason why we share our story, because it's going to bring up feelings with you. If you got that same problem, you're going to see that I'm telling your story like I said that you ain't never told me. Because like I told you, a lot of people with colon cancer, it does them the same way. It don't necessarily say, okay, that's your body, but I'm going to do this about it. Most of the cancer work the same way, if it's the same kind of cancer. And that's what addiction do. That's why we speak. That's why we go around and speak for an hour and tell our story, tell how it got started, what it was like, what it's like today. That way you can realize that it's addiction and doing all of us the same way to give you hope, where you can start taking some steps to recover. That's right, I see it because a lot of people don't realize that if you read the literature, it'll tell you at some point recovery is the impossible. Sometimes I make a mistake and talk about that a little bit too long because I got 30-some years clean, but don't get me wrong. I'm only one drink away from relapse. So I try not to talk about that recovery part too much, but I'm also one that like to keep hope alive, if y'all feel what I'm saying. This show running over to almost an hour show because of that coronavirus I mixed in, and I had to bring a little clarity on that Nicorette because I don't want people out there to stop trying because they done bumped it and somebody say, oh, it didn't work for me. I'm just saying no, they not paying me nothing. Nicorette ain't paying me nothing. I'm just one of them that realize the only way I can keep what I have is by giving it away. And if you done been through something, you know what I'm talking about. If you ain't been through nothing, you don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm here to tell you about it. Like they say on Big Daddy, I'm here to tell you about your damn problem. But if I tell you about your problem, I'm going to show you how to get rid of your problem. I ain't going to leave you hanging. That's not what Big Daddy's Den about. I'm not here to make no enemies. Y'all know the saying. Go ahead and repeat it. Because the enemy ain't going to do nothing for me. So I just want y'all to remember, no matter where Big Daddy stay nor go, you the people will always remain the stars of my show. Yeah. So let's do this today. I think I done told you enough things that I always like to say whatever slogan come to me. Sometimes the same one might come, but that means that I don't like to just say something that that I already got planned. I like to say what come to me. So what's coming to me today is to tell you, let go and let God. Y'all feel me? Let go and let God. That'll help you with some of all this stuff that we've been talking about today. You know. And as Big Daddy always say, if you don't need some of what I told you, let it go in there. What you don't need, let it come out there. So we can stay friends and not enemies. Stay positive in this negative world, folks. Y'all look out for the live show one day, because like I said, with this addiction thing, I don't really want to leave nobody hanging, because you'll be dealing with all kind of feelings, and you're going to need to know that you ain't been going through that stuff alone. Risky business. So keep an eye out for episode of Addiction, Big Daddy's Den Live. And it will be risky business. It'll be sad sometimes, funny sometimes, but most thing about it, it'll be real. It'll be on the real. Peace. Stay safe. Wear your mask.